Hey y'all, this is Moni.
And this is Kat.
Hey Kat. And this is the Fake Ass Book Club. Wait, can we both say it or no?
Welcome back, you guys. It's your girl, Moni.
And this is Kat.
Hey, Kat.
Hey, Moni.
How's it going, friends?
It's going pretty good. I have been kind of fighting a constant barrage of psychological warfare, but I think I'm doing okay.
Damn, that sounds intense. You know what's crazy, though? Hearing you say that, I'm like, I have to, though.
I thought you might.
Oh, my God.
Can I be honest?
So look at us.
Look
we
at
should
us.
Oh my God. We're here.
Made it through.
We made it through. We're so glad you guys tuned in this week to join us for another fantastic episode of Fake Ass Book Club, you guys. We do have a really great episode this week because we did read a book, friend.
Yes.
And the book that we're going to review this week, guys, is from none other than Tina Knowles. It's her memoir, Matriarch. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a synopsis. So Matriarch offers a candid reflection of Tina Knowles' life from her childhood in Galveston, Texas, to her rise as a cultural icon, entrepreneur, and mother to Beyoncé and Solange. Growing up as the youngest of 7 amid the rhythms of the Motown sounds and the realities of racial inequality, Knowles shares the generational wisdom passed down from her mother and how she passed it on to her daughters. Through stories of family, heartbreak, resilience, and creativity, Matriarch celebrates the power and legacy of motherhood.
Yeah, it does.
Yes. So, guys, that's what we're getting into this week. And as we move into this show, we want to kick things off. If you're new here, we always start our show off with sort of a dedication. So let's cue that music. Hands over your hearts, everyone. So, you guys, we want to dedicate this episode first and foremost to our patrons. You guys are super important to us, and we appreciate your continued support. If you are not a patron of this show, you guys can go over to Patreon.com/FatPodcast to tune into our bonus content. We put up our candid conversations for you guys to enjoy. And also, too, if you have any show ideas for us, if there are books or media you want us to review, you guys can hit us up and let us know. Also, I want to dedicate this episode this week to all the mothers out there. In celebration of this episode and this book Matriarch, it just had me thinking about, upcoming Mother's Day and just the fact that, lots of parents, especially mothers, end up doing a lot of really thankless work. But also, too, it feels thankless, but at the end of the day, it's stuff you would do anyway because, I don't know, what motherhood has showed me is that the depths of love. You understand love as a concept, but as a mom, it's like, man, ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no
you wouldn't do
enough.
There's nothing I wouldn't do
To keep me, yeah, it's a well. So
a force, if you will.
yes, absolutely. So what about you, friend?
Yes, and I think I'm along the same lines. This is going out to all the female ancestors and all the future ancestors. This was seeing this unbroken line of strength, and endurance. And also, I'm giving it up to May the 4th, which is tomorrow. So may the 4th be with you, all of you.
And also with you.
Dedication over.
I like it. No.
Even though there was a lot of Catholicism in this book.
Twas. So where to start, friend? I'm going to give you guys a little bit of the book stats. So this book, it looks like it was actually released in April 22nd of this year. The hardcover book is 432 pages. And of course, I listened to the audiobook. Went ahead and got that on Audible. And it was a 17-hour and 15-minute listen. So when I say today, I finally got it listened to because I did have a busy work week, so I didn't have as much time in between. So there was just a lot going on. But yeah, it was a really, really, you think about Miss Tina Knowles, she's 71 or something like that now. So she's lived her life. So of course it's not going to be like a quick book or anything like that. It's not going to be
a video vixen autobiography.
Oh God, right. 213 pages and be done with it. So no shade, but you know what I'm saying? She's lived a life.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm glad that we took our time. You know what I mean? Like, I really, really felt like I got a chance to get to know her as a person and her background. I like even more. Always thought I might. But why don't you give us a little bit about Miss Tina Knowles, our author, today?
Sure, I'd love to. Tina Knowles is an American businesswoman, fashion designer, art collector, and activist. Born Celestine Ann Beyoncé in Galveston, Texas, to a longshoreman father and seamstress mother, she learned dressmaking at an early age. In 1986, she opened Headliners, a groundbreaking hair salon that became a multi-million-dollar phenomenon in Houston. As a stylist, designer, and mother, she helped to guide the day-to-day path of Destiny's Child to global commercial success. With her daughter Beyoncé, she co-founded and ran the House of Darion. In 2024, she helped to create Sacred, her daughter Beyoncé's hair care line. Her philanthropic portfolio includes nonprofit performing arts organization WACO Theater, the Knowles Rowland Center for Youth in Houston, and Tina's Angels, her thriving mentoring program for at-risk children in South Central LA. She serves as chairwoman of Be Good, a nonprofit dedicated to establishing economic equality through a wide array of initiatives. She is a grandmother of 6 and a matriarch to many. Let's give it up.
Let's give it up. Wow. Yeah. This book to me was a beautiful story of motherhood, of family, of, shared history. It felt like a movie, which was crazy. I mean, I guess all of our lives is like a little movie or whatever.
That we're the star of.
Yeah, and it's weird because in my mind, I was thinking, man, like when I was listening to her talk about her life, obviously, like, I think my grandma's older than her, but I think about the women older than me and them playing their lives back like a movie and observing their life as a part of history. So, like, to me, hearing her recount her childhood, how she grew up, it felt like I was getting a glimpse back into, not only her personal history, but mine too, in a way.
Okay, so I had a whole list in my notes of how Miss Tina wants to be me so bad.
Wow.
Because
don't we all had friends?
So much in common. No, that's obviously
everybody
a joke.
Probably feels like that though, because she's so relatable.
Relatable because she's so honest. Because I think if you're honest, a lot we've been through some things.
Yeah, for sure.
But it also made me think a lot of the movie Daughters of the Dust, which a lot of imagery from Lemonade came from.
Yeah.
Where you're dealing with these, multi-generations of women, kind of like Joey Luck Club. That's why that always got to me too, because I'm like, oh, Chinese women are going through this too? Okay, so it's just what it is.
Yeah.
Like your relationship with your mom is complicated.
It was just absolutely heartfelt. It felt honest, but what I noticed about the book was I felt like she was true to her story without. Here's the tricky thing to me about writing a book about your life is that, everything that happens to me is intertwined with the people around me. So like if there's something that you and I go through that maybe like you wouldn't want everybody to necessarily know about, how do I stay true to myself and share that story in an honest way without making you feel some kind of way? And I feel like it was she did a beautiful job of, her family's notoriously private. And for her to put a book out about her.
Famously.
What did I say?
Well, notorious has a negative connotation.
Okay, positively, right.
Yeah, so they're famously privately.
Yes.
Private.
But yeah, so we all know we don't know their business like that. And so for her to make that choice of saying, you know what, I want to be the person that gets to tell my story, I think that she did a really beautiful job of honoring the people in her life that maybe we've heard about, because that has to be tough.
It is.
Like
you have
the
your daughter's
most famous person in the world.
Yeah,
basically.
and I'm like talking about her. Her childhood.
Her whole life, yes.
How she was in school. There was one story where, and I'm sure she had permission, but I don't know how I would have felt. Maybe Michelle was fine with it. But she's talking about Michelle's mustache. I drew a little mustache in my notes.
That was hilarious.
Because she brought it up like 3 times.
She did. And they were teasing her about it. She said, that's my boyfriend.
It's like, girl.
It
was very funny.
It was cute.
But I was just like, damn. Because I was like, oh, she really gonna talk about her mustache? Yes.
Yeah, they go away, and she ain't got it now.
She doesn't. She doesn't. Michelle's fabulous.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah,
That was cute.
that was a hard balance to strike.
She did it though. I think she did a beautiful job, and I'm pretty sure she had. I mean, obviously, in the beginning of the book, you have her daughters, that she, her natural daughters and her
and
daughters of the
Angie.
heart, Angie and
Wait,
Kelly.
I forgot how Angie
Don't do
is
that.
in the mix.
Don't do
There's so many people.
Don't do that, right? Don't look at me for clarity.
Oh,
Fuck out of here, friend.
I
No,
thought you were saying like, don't do that. Don't forget.
no.
No.
What? I'm the queen of forgetting. That's why don't look at me for answers.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's
It
that's
doesn't,
one of her
but-
daughters. But what was so funny to
Family
me was
member.
when Beyonce's letter came up, and you're working too much when Beyonce Knowles Carter tells you work too hard.
That part. I thought that myself. I thought, wow.
I'm
But
like,
you get it from your mama.
right.
You get it
It's-
from your mama.
Children do as you do.
And she got it from her mama.
Yeah, they
you
do
know?
as you do, not as you say. So yeah, a lot of it was just so, oh, it was like heartbreaking. I loved her because I was telling you, like, my impression of Miss Tina was that she was very prim and proper. Because and we were talking about how, like, when people get misconceptions of us, they'll be like, you
Yeah, so
cuss?
funny.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe it's because if you have like people.
Because you enunciate. That's why.
Well, and like you're put together.
That part,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like it feels like you're into respectability politics, and it's like, no,
I just
no,
like
I'm
looking
not.
nice,
I just
yeah.
like, it turns out I just own an iron.
Yeah.
At the end of the
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
that's all that happens.
Yeah.
I got some belts.
I really, like I felt like it was an honor to get to know her. I know that sounds
Yeah.
corny though, but
No, for real.
I always picked up on her sort of, she's got some energy that I would say like my mom has. Like I have one of those moms who, when people meet her, like even like my friends in high school, like she definitely adopted kids along the way. Like
Yeah,
I know
matriarch energy.
lots of women and men who consider my mom a mom and who still to this day refer to her as mom when they see her, or even just, friends who peripherally meet my mom. They instantly, it's like she's giving mom energy.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey mom, like she's giving you one of those hugs. And so, yeah, so I'm familiar with that energy and I recognize that energy in her because I'm like, my mom possesses that in a way. But I want to get into the book in terms of the first chapter because the first chapter is literally one of my favorites.
Yeah, I
Because
re-listened to it.
She just draws you in.
And I love her voice.
Oh my gosh.
Because we listened to it. At least I did.
Yes,
We listened to it.
we listened to
Yeah,
it. All
that's-
17 hours and however many minutes.
I listened to it at regular speed because a lot of times I speed the books
I sped it up to
did you?
1.25.
I love her voice, so I went ahead and just listened to it regular, and I'm
had
with
to speed it
you.
up
I
sometimes.
mean, once again, the whole book's good. Like I didn't have any trouble reading at all, but I felt entirely immersed in her world.
My God.
Under the pecan tree.
Under the Pecan Tree was such and actually I say pecan, I don't know.
I think
You said
they're both
pecan?
acceptable.
Caramel.
I mean, you know what I mean.
I do. I just didn't know.
I like a
if you-
pecan caramel blizzard.
Pecan caramel.
We gonna get the same word.
Tomato. Yeah, we're gonna get the same thing. But I like this chapter, for one, because it was just so cute thinking about her as a young child. Like I really feel like she did a great job of describing like her energy.
Yeah, badass
as
Tina B.
Badass Teeny B.
And the fact that she recognizes, like, yeah, I would have been diagnosed with ADHD.
Yeah, high energy.
Yeah.
I can't
Tired
focus on
parents.
anything. Move. Man, she was the seventh, guys. I don't know if y'all remember me saying that in the little brief overview, but she was one of 7. And what I really liked, surviving children, I really loved that, she's telling us these stories about her and her mom under the pecan tree, picking up these pecans because it's like we're picking these up because they're free. You know what I'm saying? So her mom would candy them, and she would be sharing these stories with her when she was small about her lineage and about who she came from, where she came from. So she was talking about where her name came from and why, different people spelled it different ways. And her name was Celestine, but everybody said it real country because they actually were from Louisiana, ended up in Galveston. But Celestine was how they ended up pronouncing it. And she hated it or whatever. So she was trying to just let her know like who you came from, her, so it sounds like her namesake, who was Celestine, she had 10 kids by her slave master.
Yeah,
from
she
what
was
I remember,
an
an enslaved person. But her mom was
managed
also
to stay
enslaved.
together.
Yes.
Yeah, which was rare. So it was this idea of like, wow, the fact that, because to me, when she was talking about how, regular family separation was during American chattel slavery, and that's something that I feel like is so baked into my DNA. Like that's something that still
talk about that a
me.
lot.
I
Yeah.
talk about it a lot because I'm like, that is, it's terrifying. Her even talking about her own mother being separated from her oldest daughter for a year, and just the trauma of that. And then when she later on, like as you become a mother, you understand that fear your mother
Absolutely.
has for you. So you're her youngest child, and she's like, "What you so scared?" It's like, I've lived through having my children taken away, and I don't.
And like you say, it's in my DNA. Like this is something that, like, part of it I can't even help because it's in me that's a thing that can happen, right?
Yeah.
Like, that fear gets passed down, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so I think, but what struck me about her as a child too, though, was the fact that, and I'm guessing this is probably because she was the seventh one and her parents were older. Like she made the point that her parents were older. And I just think about how motherfucking tired you are. As a parent in general, let alone of 7 with limited resources in the South in the 50s.
And your husband drinks.
So you make more money than this dude. And not that there's anything wrong with that. She never even made any sort of big deal about that. But also, like, I'm saying that to say the added pressure of not only having to provide, but like
and
having
you're constantly
everything.
battling the cops. We talked about this off mic. Ricky Racism showed up a couple times in this book.
Sure did.
And that part was just like, this book could have been called Tina Beyoncé versus the Cops.
My God.
Like it was.
Well, let's get into it. So the story that she ended up sharing, which was crazy, was about both of her parents. So like I said, Wheats Island, which is in Louisiana, a tiny little town, and it was like a salt mining town. Her father worked in the salt mines. Everybody ended up working in the salt mines. I guess her dad was, her mom was a seamstress, and it was like he had one of the lower jobs on the rung of, being in the salt mine. So they had to go in with the dynamite and kind of bust open the salt, whatever. And so him and somebody else in their family went down there to do that, and the explosion went bad. They got trapped under the rubble. There was a bunch of them, maybe 10 of them. I think they had 10 siblings or something. The dad, it was a whole bunch. And
he was
the brothers all worked there. He
youngest,
was the youngest. So when they were telling the foremans and stuff, hey, can we go in there and look for our brothers? Nope.
Everybody go
It's again, get on out of here. So I guess they waited around till after things closed,
left,
and they went in there and dug them both out. They both survived. And I guess he ended up losing some hearing in his ear and some sight in one of his eyes too, but they ended up getting like arrested and like fired and all that stuff. And after that happened, what's the name of the people who come and help you at your job? The union. Jeez Louise. The union people were reaching out to him like, yo, this does, like if you were part of a union, this wouldn't happen. Like you'd have protections. And when the people in town figured that out, they ran them out of town. They like threw the Molotov cocktails in their house, ran them out of town. So that's how they ended up in Galveston. I'm like, what the fuck?
That was some serious union busting
I'm like,
right
this
there.
could be a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy. But I also thought about the fact that like this could be a banned book just based on the fact that like everything that she's talking about was stuff that happened to her. She's not fictionalizing any of this. This was her life. But then it's like, this is I'm thinking like this is anti-American because
it's a little
this
too
is
woke.
It's woke. It's like, what are you talking about? Like they bombed my family's house and we had to flee where we were at.
I had a thought the other day. It's a little bit of a side, but I had a thought the other day that because vernacular just kind of changes over the years, and like woke is now kind of like the new nigger lover, because that's how they always kind of like keep like sympathetic white people in line whenever you've been like, hey, you don't need to do all that. And it's like, what are you, a nigga lover?
Yeah,
and it's just like, and now it's like, what are you, woke? And it's just like, or they call you a monkey lover, that kind of
Did
stuff.
they say that now?
I mean, probably, but it was more common,
Okay.
It was more, the Overton window had moved
Got
to
you.
like, you don't say, like if you say it on Twitter, you might get fired, or you might be able to raise like $500,000.
Like, oh girl, man, my God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the book.
But yeah, so
her family, they went
the family
through
history
it.
was crazy, and so like hearing her talk about that and that being a part of her, like she witnessed that, she saw that, and
so did her mom.
and so did her mom, and so like that led her mom to really parent with a lot of fear. You know what I mean? Like, and Tina was a precocious, curious, energetic child who asked questions, and I think they probably were just too tired to like whoop her ass. I mean, at the end of being
it
7.
sounded to me like they didn't like take that approach with any of the kids.
I mean, I can't confirm or deny that she didn't speak about it, but I would imagine even if you wanted to at that point, I don't think that they probably would have.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she just grew up. I really liked that about her, though. Like, I really loved that she was
immediately on her side, and the fact that especially her young reactions to segregation.
Yeah,
because
like,
it doesn't. I love like segregation through a child's mind, or racism, like through, because it doesn't make any sense.
It's like, what is this?
They've got fresh eyes on it. Everybody else is like used to it, and she's like, "Hold up, this don't make no sense."
So now we got to do what now?
Yeah, it's like there's plenty of seats. Why can't I just sit here?
Oh, in the bus. Yeah, that was
quite a. That was
sister
great.
was better whip her ass.
Actually, I want to get to, because this is going to take,
we got a
so
lot to
much.
go through,
But
yeah.
I was just going to go through the list of how Miss Tina is me and I am Miss Tina. So,
Catholic school?
yeah, I got Catholic school right at the top. We're both named after matriarchs in our family. Keep going back to an ex. Have amazing children. Almost drowned. Crazy hospital treatment. Doing hair. Gentle parenting. A friend named Monica who makes you laugh. She's Southern. I'm half Southern. Overprotective mom. A drinking dad. Daddy's girl. Obsessed with fashion. And pregnant while on birth control.
Oh my God. Super relatable.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I like that.
And maybe
list.
a little mouthy. Maybe we have that in
A
common.
little
I don't know.
bit. Yeah. She's more like, will fight you, feisty.
Yeah, I'm not
just
gonna fight you.
Yeah, I will. Yeah,
I'll just make you
swear
laugh.
verbally.
I'll just de-escalate
Yeah.
like that, because
You'll debate somebody, but I feel like she would be like the one. You be like, Tina, look here.
when
We gotta
went
roll up
in
on
to
these
talk
hoes.
I don't remember if it was Solange. It must have been Beyonce's teacher. Was it Solange or Beyonce's teacher? Where she was like, if you keep messing with my child, it's gonna be me and you. She said in front of the principal.
Damn, I don't remember either now.
I know. It was one of them. One of her kids, she don't play about any of them, so it don't really
No, she
matter
sure
who it
doesn't.
was. But she
Yeah.
was like, if you keep messing with my child, it's going to be me and
And
you.
you.
And the principal was like, hey, there's no need for all that. She was like, I'll
And
say
she
it
said, I
again.
just kept looking at her in her eye like, bitch, I will
And I was
find
like,
you.
she's serious.
She was dead
and
fucking
you know
serious.
what? That
Good for you.
teacher knew she was serious too, because she
Yeah.
said there was no more problems the rest of the year.
And she pulled her up out of there after that. I was like, see, that sounds like my mom.
But that's what it takes sometimes, like
Mm-hmm.
at a certain point, because your child's being bullied by their teacher.
Yeah.
Like-
and a kid can't be, I mean, like the thing is like, it can't always be the kid every single time. Like at some point you're the adult and you have to figure out a way to navigate this. This person's in your class and you have to figure out how to deal with this. So
even
that's
if
just the
you
thing.
never planned on teaching black children.
No.
Because I had a lot of teachers with that issue where it was just like, the whole point of me working here was so I wouldn't have to work with black kids.
But guess
How'd
what,
you get in
though?
here?
But what's wild is that apparently those nuns at the Christian school that she went to had a problem with her too, though.
Well, because she was poor.
I know, but let's talk about that for a second, because I think about, so we both have in
Well,
common.
no, here's the thing though. Those nuns had a problem with everybody because they ended up beating the other little boy. Oh, but he was the barber's son. But like, yeah, they did hone in on the poorer ones because they felt like they could get, because that was the thing too. She had never been hit in her life. Like that's
She
the
was
thing.
only
She
5.
was like,
She was a baby. Like, what the hell?
It's like, what are you? She was like, oh, she went home. She was like, Mom.
Let's talk about the story. So she goes to this school. This school is literally across the street from where they live. It sounds like her whole family was like indentured servants to this
Pretty
school
much,
because the
yeah.
mom did volunteer work, the kids cleaned up the grounds, the dad drove people around. They didn't have the resources to actually probably pay the full tuition, so they were there helping out at the school. So when she started school, she was so excited. All her siblings went, and basically on that first day, the first thing that Lynn told her was like, "You don't belong here." Mm-hmm. A grown ass. Well, a lot of person in the school saying this to you, and she's looking like, what are you talking about?
Because it's so much of like a lot of private schools, religious schools, they're so hierarchical. So that's the only person that she gets to exert power over. Like, you know, in your powerless life.
Yeah, because you're a nun at a Catholic school. There's no women in power there.
Yeah. So, but they give you can do whatever you want to the kids.
Yeah.
Like, that's always kind of been the thing. So, yeah, that was hard to listen to because
It was so
once
heartbreaking.
Again, I didn't really encounter Catholic education until I was in junior high school, and they don't really hit you then.
Well, and then you were saying it was better than the school you came from.
It was
too,
definitely
so
better than the school I came from. And then I was getting hit in preschool. So
You were?
yeah, they used to.
I did too. I
Yeah,
got a whooping.
it was the 80s.
Oh my God.
was
And
the
then my mom pulled me out of there though.
Oh, my mom was like, yeah,
Those bitches lied on me.
Man, you just get hit
She
sometimes.
pulled me out of there. No, she pulled me the fuck out of there because I was like, hold up, I didn't even do nothing though.
Yeah,
and she believed me. Thank God, she believed me.
That's important.
It is
You felt
important.
protected.
I did, and I don't think Tina felt like that because
No.
when she ran across the street, to your point, you were trying to make it so like she gets in trouble with this teacher. They go up to the front of the class, her and another little boy, because she was like, the teacher was like, who was talking? It wasn't her, but the boy pointed to her. And she's like, well, should I point it to him?
It's like,
they
point,
had
point.
to, yeah.
I can do that too.
So they went up there and had to put their hands out, and they were going to get their hands hit by like a ruler or something like that, a wooden stick or something. And then she just like was clutching her pearls like, what the fuck? This lady just hit me?
She's like, I'm going to tell my
She took
mama.
off, went home. Her mom was like, bitch, you got to go back to school.
She's like, no, I'm not. It's like, yes, you are.
And then when the lady came back, that's when she told her, like whispered and got in her face and said something slick. I'm like, see, and I think it's really sad too because, you know, again, like when you have a fearful parent who is like, look, I'm just trying to provide you this education. There's no other way for me to do this. I'm not sending you to the public school. And this is right across the street. Like there's so many factors, but to feel like, oh my gosh, the person who's here to protect me isn't necessarily protecting me. That's got to be heartbreaking. Yeah, and you're internalizing that. So
now, conversely, another story I really liked was her brother Skip.
Oh, corny joke time.
Who when he got like corporally punished in front of the classroom because the nun made him pull his pants down, and he was like, I just couldn't take it anymore, and he called her the B word, and he just was a living legend from then on.
That sounds like
out.
my brother. He probably would have said that.
I was so in that moment. I was just like, yeah. And then I got man, my family named Skip too, so I already had like a predisposition to be. Yeah. Oh yeah, I should have put that family member's name Skip. Man, it would have been too much with the names, though, because that would have been a whole thing. But
I know, but okay. So one other thing about the Catholic school that broke my heart. There's so many stories, but I won't. So was also too like when they asked her. So like they did during Lent, which is that 30-day period right, leading up to Easter or whatever.
It's like 40
days leading up to Easter. They did like this ceremony on Fridays where like you could crown the Mary or whatever. It's like a flower
Mary
thing. And then like one girl in class gets to dress up like in a fancy white dress. Her mom was this awesome seamstress. Even though they were poor, they were always really fancy because her mom knew how to.
She has inner riches that can never be stolen.
Hello. Inner riches that can never be stolen. I love that. And so she asked Tina, hey, you know, made it sound like you get to be the person. Mom made this beautiful dress. She was so excited. She gets there, and then the nun was like, well, we're gonna give the dress to such and let her do it. And she was so upset because she was like, I thought I was gonna get to do it. And then the mom, when she came home and told her, she was like, just let her do it.
Her mama just died.
Because her mom died and stuff. And like, you know, we can't bring our mom back.
You got plenty of dresses. But the nuns still played her though.
They did play her. So like on one hand, I get the lesson the mom was trying to say. Well, for one, the mom wasn't gonna pipe up.
She wasn't gonna make waves anyway. But I mean, there was a lesson to be learned,
in it.
but they didn't have to play her like that. Because even the mom, when she found out, she was like, oof. Because she was like, I made that dress for my daughter. So,
but she still went up there and was like, babe, just let her have it.
But just so that we're not dragging Catholic schools too hard, because later on, Beyonce went to St. Mary's. And no, that's a different St. Mary's. Never mind. Because when I heard St. Mary's, I thought about the all-girls Catholic school where the two girls who solved the Pythagorean theorem went to.
Oh.
It was like
I don't remember the name, but yeah. Okay.
But there's some good ones out there, but a lot of times unchecked power is always a bad
Thank you.
thing.
That's all that is. This is not a critique of Catholic schools at large. This was the one she went to, and it sounds like they took advantage of her family for their resources. And they ultimately were probably jealous. I mean, like, I think part of it was like, you know, she was considered, I don't know, you know, I guess like, I don't know. Like, I guess her physical appearance or whatever.
She could have passed.
She could have passed. You know what I'm
'Cause I
saying?
feel
More
like
so than our last book.
Damn.
I mean, do you know what I'm saying? Like, we just
well, even Matthew, I think he
perfect.
admitted later on, like when he initially saw her, he thought she was a white woman.
Oh, really?
And that was part of the attraction. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know
This
that.
wasn't in the book or anything, but like
I'm
this
about
was
to
like
say-
a long time ago
say
and
that,
stuff
boy.
like that. But yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
anywho.
Okay, well, there's a lot of life to get
All right,
to.
let's get through Golly.
Oh, but you know what she did? She reminds me a little bit of Miss Pat.
Okay,
Like just and just the dialect sometimes too. The way she says boyfriend.
the way she talks.
Like
yeah.
a lot of stuff, it would have been like if Miss
Southern.
Pat had more resources. Because even even though they grew up poor, there was a level poor.
Or if she or if she went to better schools or something. Yeah.
Yes.
Or have more people invest in her even. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so what's the next part then, friend? We're getting past her childhood.
Well, no,
I mean,
well, we brought up Matthew, so let's just get on to married life.
Oh,
You know what I
damn,
mean? Like,
okay.
cause she makes a way. Like, she goes to high school. Like, there's so much that happens.
So much, you guys.
In second act of her life, she's like, I'm leaving Galveston. I want to
Yes.
find a brighter horizon. Bringing up Uncle Johnny real quick, because that was
Oh, my
like her
God,
heart
her
and stuff like that.
BFF.
She's like, yeah,
which was technically her nephew, which was
nephew.
pretty cute.
Yeah,
but
that is.
he was
'Cause
older
she
than
had,
her.
like, way older siblings because of the whole thing. But yeah, she's like, I'm going out west. I'm going out to find in this big world. I'm gonna go find something. So, but she ends back up in Galveston because her parents end up sick, and she ends up meeting Matthew. Or no, she meets Matthew in Houston. Was that it? Something like that. Anyway, while she's out in the world, she meets Matthew. He drives her back to Galveston for something because she's like, I'm too tired to drive. Because he's chasing her.
He's
she's
been
like, I ain't
chasing her.
studying you.
Yeah, that's what it
'Cause
was.
even when he runs into her at Visa, I'm pretty sure that was calculated. Like, I don't think it was just random. Because he acts like he looked for her at MasterCard, but he didn't do
Lies.
that.
No,
Because I'm like, he didn't
smart.
misremember what she said. He just said that to tease her. It was very cute. I really like their little interactions and stuff like that. So they end up, falling in love, getting married. It's a rough start because her,
Man.
her parents were having failing health. And by the time she gets pregnant with Beyonce, her mom dies before Beyonce's born. It was just absolutely heartbreaking because she thought she'd be able to share that experience. I can't imagine. Because I needed my mom so much when I had my kids.
That's what killed me. I think the part that had me almost in tears was her.
Oh, I cried.
Being
I cried so
like,
much.
oh my gosh, her being like, realizing it had been like 13. She said, it's been 13 months since my mom passed away. And, she was having trouble with the breastfeeding part. Like her breasts were engorged. She didn't realize the benefits of it or anything like that and was struggling with it. But she was like, I'm gonna take a hot shower. And it made it worse. One of her sisters is a nurse and was like, yo, cold compresses
and calf leaves.
that expands things, like heat expands things. You want to contract things to keep them from swelling. And she was just like, thinking like, I need my mom. And then it just hit her. She's like, I'm thinking about how nuts it is after giving birth. Your hormones are going crazy. It's such a surreal experience. And to think like the one person who you feel like might understand what you're going through, might be able to give you some guidance, some love, some understanding is not there. And that's all you want. So like you're grieving your mom on top of your hormones and you just had a baby. I was like, yo, that almost took me out. I was like, no, that is... Oh my God, I felt for her. I was like, oh my gosh, that is wild. And just, and then not even knowing like how much of this is like postpartum versus like actual grief and stuff like that. So navigating that, she was going through a lot right after she had, like at the beginning of her marriage, there was so much going on. I just remember being like, that's a whole bunch.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Oh, let me rewind real quick. Okay, so on the Patreon, you guys should be on Patreon. We talked to your brother about how he just feels like there's nothing to learn from fiction.
Bye.
Because I feel like I put on my list, like Almost Drowned was on both me and Miss Tina's list of things that happened when she got sucked into that undercurrent in the ocean.
Yeah, almost drowned too.
What?
Almost drowned, not in the ocean.
I mean,
It happens. I want to be like Miss Tina too.
Well,
Damn.
I almost drowned in the ocean, specifically. Well, the Gulf of America. Okay.
Sure. That's
No,
what it's
Gulf
called.
of Mexico. It's the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
Cinco de
It's not
Mayo is
even
coming
funny.
up. It's the Gulf of Mexico. I know Mexicans don't care about
They don't
Cinco de
give a damn
Mayo,
about
but
that.
it's still fun. But when that happened, like she grew up in Galveston in the water, so she knew the rule that you don't go straight. You have to go at an angle to get back to the shore. So when that happened to me, like it's too long of a story about how I got in like the ocean, pushed back from the shore. But when I was there, I was like, okay, don't panic. Don't panic. I was like, okay, what do? I had an inflatable. So I'm like, I'm just going to keep kicking till I get to the shore, but I knew not to go straight. I need to go at an angle because of a book I read. I believe it was a Babysitter's Club book.
Let's go.
About what happens when you get pushed away from the shore, because that's how
Those
people end up drowning.
riptides.
Yeah, those riptides, people end up drowning because they keep going straight and they keep getting pushed back, so you
Farther.
have to swim at an angle. And so I'm just pointing out, like, you can learn from fiction.
You hear that, Ramel?
And the reason I remembered it was because it was entertaining.
See?
And I needed to remember it in that moment because I was like,
little
I was
nugget.
racking my brain and was like, how do I survive this situation?
Oh, yeah.
Because I
Babysitter's
couldn't
Club.
swim. Like at that time, I was, yeah. So
Okay.
back to Miss Tina though.
I like it.
But yeah, that's yeah.
Well, hit the list. Let's just hit your list because you got the notes.
Okay.
So Matthew and her, their dynamic was very
every time I move, I lose.
Man.
When I look up in, every time I turn around, back in love. Couldn't even get mad though, because I was like, been there.
back in love.
Woo-hoo.
Man. You know what was crazy too, though? Hearing about Beyonce being like a super shy kid.
Yeah, I think I knew that.
And I was like, huh.
But she just had a lot of discernment. She was like, these hoes.
Interesting. Yeah.
But
I
that
love
was so
that.
sweet when she finally met Kelly.
Yeah, they
'Cause-
both had that in
Because
common.
quite honestly, I've always had trouble connecting with people. I'm like, people are weird and dishonest. Like,
It's like, finally, someone will tell me the
yeah,
truth. And
it will
who's
be
not
like-
terrible.
yeah, yeah, like that's really, yeah.
People are mean though, but a lot of
Yeah.
it too was, because the one story where like Beyonce came home, she described these two girls being freaking frack or whoever at school who, gave Beyonce a hard time or whatever, and she had this rabbit fur coat that she liked.
I always wanted a rabbit
And came,
fur,
I had one. It
whatever.
was white. It was cute.
Yeah,
It had little
cool.
balls on the end.
Cool. My mom was like, that's impractical.
Yeah, and my mom was like, that's fine. My mom she likes that, so that's cool. But I remember
Detroit?
her telling her like, go to school and give it to them and see how they feel about it. She's like, they're not gonna like it. She was like, just give it to them, and of course they took it. And the whole
Fighting
lesson
over
was, the whole lesson was like, people would just be hating because they're jealous of what you have. And she was trying to illustrate it more than just saying like, hey, they're just jealous of you, because you can hear those words, but until you see it.
You're like, you're just a crazy lady who lives in my house. You don't know what you're talking
it's
about.
so hard to really like impress upon your kids
And
those kinds of things.
Later on, when Beyonce's like in a, trying to get the singing going, and she was part of like a
Girls' Time or something.
Well, it wasn't Girls' Time. It was something where she was not selected to be the lead singer of something anymore because she wasn't doing the vocal lessons.
That was still Girls' Time,
That was
but it
still
was
Girls'
like
Time?
they were bringing in they're bringing in new talent. It was still the
Okay.
same thing. Yeah.
I thought it was like a different thing because it was like other women who were choosing who was going to be singing. Like I thought it was like a choir.
it was their
thing
managers
almost.
or something. I feel like it was the adults in charge of it.
Yeah, but I feel like it was
Anywho, I
something.
feel like that's
Anyway,
not-
whatever.
yeah.
But like Tina was telling her, was like, the reason they're choosing this other girl to be the lead singer, and like actually, even though you're teaching the other girls how to do the arrangements, you're not doing the vocal exercises, so that's why you're not getting ahead. And Beyonce, imagine Beyonce saying, I hate you. She had to listen to Beyonce say, I hate you. And she didn't do the Jennifer Aniston thing from the morning show where
bringing
it's like,
that back.
F you, kid. She didn't go off. She was just like, okay, I'm just telling you something you don't want. Like
You don't
she
wanna
kept
hear
it cool
it.
right now. But it's like, and later on, she was just like, okay, I'm going to do the vocal lessons. I'm going to get my shine back. Because it's like, yeah, I'm not going out like that. But like, yeah, you have to give your children uncomfortable truths sometimes. And they're children, so they're going to react very negatively because they feel like they should be supported no matter what. And it's just like, no, like you have the opportunity to do better and you're not taking it.
Right. Well, because prior to that, she was like, you need to take these vocal lessons, and she fucking hated doing them. Because work is hard and stupid. Nobody wants to do it until you realize, like, this is the difference between being good and bad, And on top of that, like you said, she was doing more work. She was like, this girl's rested up. All she's doing is her vocal exercises and showing up. You're not doing your vocal lessons, but then on the side, you're stressing your voice by showing, teaching and doing stuff. So, she has information that you don't have. So, she finally was able to kind of see how that worked out.
I feel like I had some really good mothering tips. Like this was something I definitely recommend for the Mother's Day, like gift giving holiday.
It's a
Because this
good
was,
book, man.
it's like I said, I felt seen. I felt heard. And it was, yeah. Also, this is just random. I was re-listening to Mindy Kaling's book last weekend. Why Not Me? She predicted Beyonce doing a country album.
Oh, did she really?
Yeah, she was like, I think Beyonce should do, she has the
her voice.
Like, I think Beyonce should do a country album. And it was just like a little throwaway line. And I was like, Mindy, you did it. You manifested that.
She should be
Mindy can
that.
manifest. I know I would if I had called that back then.
Actually,
you were right. It was a really good idea. And it looks like the concert was great.
And she's super country. I mean, like
that part.
The fact that there's any dispute on the fact that like she has any birthright or any sort of like claim to country music, like these folks are country, man.
As hell.
I mean,
like
Louisiana,
that. I like what she points out. It's like that. Y'all used to say I was too country.
They were telling, my God, with the big hair and all that shit.
I love that story.
That was, because I was thinking about them cracking up at the lady singing and stuff and how they got kicked out and were rolling. I was like, that would be me. That would be me.
What about the part when they had the tutor named Mrs. Dick?
And the dad was
Harry Dick. I was cracking up.
That was
I was
pretty
like,
good.
I'm sorry,
you
need to
funny.
know your audience. I'm sorry.
Ma'am, change it for this. So good. So good.
Oh my gosh.
So what was your takeaway though from Tina and we're talking about their marriage and their relationship. What was the takeaway?
My takeaway was I felt like the book should have ended with them getting back together. That would have been hilarious. Because every time you think they're done,
that would not have been hilarious. I disagree. I'd have been pissed.
I would have fell out, and she's like, and then me and Matthew got back together.
I'm so
because it felt like that
glad.
was the chorus. Like every once in a while there'd be some verses, and then we go back to the chorus, and it's like, and then Matthew. I just love. Sometimes you just but you can really do a lot with some fuck nigga DNA. Like she proves that.
Listen. It's not even, doesn't even end up being about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because nothing's all bad. I would have been deeply disappointed if the book would end like that. That wouldn't have been funny to me, not even a little bit. I'd have been pissed. So I'm actually really glad it didn't leave. I would have found no humor in that
like,
at
every
all.
time she started to say something, I was like, if she says she's getting back
she
with
got
Matthew.
back with this nigga again.
Even her kids were like, that's my
Mama!
daddy.
Mama!
I don't think you should date my daddy anymore.
Right, he's the worst, okay? Y'all are toxic.
You know that's bad.
It's so bad. It's so bad. But also, I feel like I could understand how, especially, the deep history that they had together. And then, she just was like, man, this dude was a salesman, like every single time. And when you split your DNA with somebody, there's something to be said for maybe a space that exists with you and that person that's inexplicable.
He rode so hard for her.
Yeah, and they were such good partners in so many other ways.
I wish they were running our country.
Man. Oh.
The two of them, like if we had a king monarch kind of system, I felt like the two of them did so much.
They really did. With no formal education and stuff like that.
Well, he did.
Yeah.
But that's something she was always insecure about, which she shouldn't have been. No. Damn, you got the recipe already. So
my God.
Yeah.
Just so many times, I guess, the thing about moms, and I think she personified this in so many different ways, where whether it was like her providing for other people's kids and showing up as a mother figure for kids who weren't hers, or taking care of family members, whether that was her parents or siblings or whoever, it's such a selfless thing, and you're never thinking about yourself. I think it's the blessing and curse of motherhood is that like it puts you in a position where you recognize that things are bigger than you. And so the investment that you're putting in those around you, you see the bigger picture in that, but at the same time, sometimes you're not always giving yourself the things that you're providing for other people. And so it's hard to see that you're not, because you just get so acclimated to like, okay, yeah, give, busy. I mean, she was such a, you're constantly moving. You're not even realizing like you're not considering yourself.
Well, and then, because the other thing too with Matthew defending her, because one time the music label was trying to say that
she was the problem.
She was the problem, and that they, the costumes weren't great. And he was like, "What you not gonna do is what you're not gonna." I love that. In that moment too, it'd have been real hard for me.
It's like, well, I mean, I love you again.
Because you're telling the truth.
Yeah.
Because it was.
Well, and you're defending me because, like, that's the thing. As a woman, you're telling the truth, but what you're not doing is you're not, like, because you're a man in this situation, you realize that you have more of a presence in this particular kind of scenario,
in this business space,
and you're using it to defend me. A lot of times that doesn't happen with women. There is no defender.
They're so quick to throw a chick under the bus,
right? Because he could have very well been like, "Okay, Tina, you gotta step down. Let me take over." Like how that bullshit that I had pointed out in the other episode, and it wasn't it was a football player. It was not like a legislator like I thought it was, like who was like, it would just be really great if women could just step aside and just let the men lead. And it's like, bitch.
Yeah, we need more male energy.
He never did that. Like, he let her fully shine.
Because he
recognized
he was a smart guy.
Yeah.
He recognized this is an incredibly valuable person who's also super hot.
Yeah.
So, he's like, I'm gonna take that deal.
Yeah.
But I think one of the great moments too where she felt validated when they mistook one of her designs as Givenchy.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, Givenchy, like that was the designer, like one of his muses was Audrey Hepburn. Like anytime you saw Audrey Hepburn, she was probably in some Givenchy. And she was just like, wow, they really
likes him too.
Yeah, like, and just the amount of creativity, like where she would see some of her designs on runways and stuff like that.
And
so
never
it's like,
get credited.
And then and not paying her either.
But they'll be dragging her that she's country and it's too this and it's too that.
It's like it's too Supremes. And she's like, well, first off, the Supremes were amazing.
They were fucking amazing.
And she's like, and also if you're in like the 30th row, you deserve a show too.
Yeah.
I love
She was
Tina.
awesome. And I really love that. I think that what they could have opted out of, and this is the thing we talked about this in the personal librarian, like the hard choice of like passing or making yourself white to be more appealing to or to be successful. I love that she instilled in her kids, and she felt, even though she 100%, if she decided to tell people and make sure that her accent didn't come out and maybe whatever, she could have passed as a white lady for sure.
Yeah.
And her kids could be the kind of kids that were like, we're Creole, we're not black. They could have done
that Blue Vein Club
They
stuff.
could have done that. And I love that, like, from the start, she was always extremely proud. Like, that's something that her mom passed on to her, like how much of a privilege it was to be a black person, and how, even though they came from a little bit of, the resources they had were limited, but we can make magic from nothing, from dust, and, it's in our DNA. And she passed that to her kids, and you can just see. I just love that. I love that she passed that to Beyonce. You see that
Obviously.
with her kids. People
That's
were
why
dragging
everybody
her.
mad.
Everybody
Because everyone's like, why aren't you just passing? Because Beyonce could just be like, I'm actually da-da-da.
Right.
You see it with some
French
of the
background.
girls,
Yeah,
where
for sure.
they're everything but black.
Yeah, but you're co-opting all of the swag from black people, but also you don't want to attach yourself to it. So that's one of the things that appeals to me about Beyonce, whereas like white people were a little bit more like clutching their pearls when it was like, Beyonce's black?
I was about to say,
we talked about this.
I would see them all the time on the cover of Hype Hair and Sophisticate's Black Hair. Like, it was all that, like, that was the thing where it was just like, this though.
Yeah, so I always loved that. And so to hear the background of that and how she just instilled that in her kids and the pride in their background was just really, really beautiful. So I really, really love that, friend. That was just awesome. What would you say your biggest takeaways were from the book, though? Like, what were outside of just her?
I think the documentation of Southern racism, like the strain of Southern racism, in the same way that like sort of like Truman Capote and Dave Sedaris, like there's so many of these narratives of the South, because the South did racism. It's not like like America, it's racist.
Sure.
But it's different everywhere you go, and just that
brand.
When she was just talking about when her sister Flo took her to the protests. And her mom, mom got mad at her. But just the fact that at the time, the white people were calling them the Negro sit-downers. Like that was their name for the people who were like, protesting at the lunch counters, where it was just kind of like, and something we just so take for granted now. Like she lived through that. Like this stuff that was just for us that seems a little bit abstract.
Yeah.
Because like having somebody be like, we don't serve coloreds here. That's like
what? Say what?
Or like you can't even go in the stores the same time as
or you have to go around the back. Yeah, all that.
That kind of stuff. It's like, no, it's a new day.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's what I took from it. What about you?
Yeah, my takeaways were, I mean, I had a lot, but I do feel like, just pride. I think, respectability politics comes to mind a lot because, I mean, just the fear, as a Black person in America, the fear of raising your kids in this country is a real thing. So like the revolutionary part about being a Black person in America who has self-confidence, who thinks you're beautiful, who thinks you're smart, like internally, like really feeling that. And then to be able like to create art around that and to influence the world, like that's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And I think it just made me appreciate the fact that like, she was able to take the stories that her mom told her, internalize those things despite the racism that she faced in her community, at her school, and just, that self-love, that giving back. Like she just always was able to keep, authenticity to who she was as a person, like always giving back. Just being herself and finding joy in it. Like it just seemed like she's the kind of person that finds joy in everything that she does. The beauty around her, like she appreciated the art. She liked sharing everything she had, just hearing her, just seeing her generosity as a person.
It really explains Beyonce.
Mom, it really does. It was just really beautiful. And so for me,
I love that that's her family name. Like I think I knew that before, but now it means so much more now.
Yeah.
Having that background and stuff. So
yeah, I really liked it. It was just a great book. Lots and lots of themes that unfortunately are still
very
prevalent
relevant
today, like her getting a pelvic exam.
Oh gosh.
Against her will.
Oh gosh.
The medical stuff, all that kind of stuff.
You brought that up. I have to take a break.
Yeah, it's just really sad. But you guys, we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, you guys, welcome back. Wow.
Oh, you know what we should do?
No.
We should go to the Children's Museum.
Why?
The Ruth Carter exhibit.
Really?
Yeah, I want to see it.
Oh, I didn't know they had a Ruth Carter exhibit. Okay, let's go, children.
I've been hearing good things, and I'm obsessed with her. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
that could be fun.
I'm not against it, friend. I'm not against it.
In the meantime, Matriarch.
Matriarch.
What are you rating it?
What a book, you guys. I think if I had to rate this book, I'm giving it 5 pecan trees, man.
Out of 5.
Out of 5.
All right.
Yeah.
You would recommend this to people? They should buy this.
They should buy it. They should give it away to mothers in their lives.
I am, because I borrowed it from the library, but I think I am just gonna buy it.
Mothers to be, anybody. Yeah. It's just a good story. I think if you're, it's great. It's great. It's a great investment, and I think it's one of those books you could probably read again.
For sure.
Yeah, it's good. I liked it.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5 protein treatments.
Let's go.
Yeah, yeah. Get some Sacred, guys. Have you used Sacred? It's pretty good. Yeah. I've used it. It's expensive, but it's good.
Okay. You
get
what you pay for?
Yeah, you get what you pay for.
Yeah. I really liked that too. Her talking about headliners like her beauty shop. We didn't get into that. The fact that she's an entrepreneur, fashion icon, a seamstress, an art lover, a philanthropist.
And just as a nurturer, doing hair is so nurturing. I love doing hair.
I love that she was like,
right now.
And I think you do this too though. Like, I am servicing people who ain't got all day to fucking be in this shop for 15 goddamn hours while you sit and gossip and leave and go get chicken wings and come back and eat in the back, and then you got 12 people under the dryer.
Now you're telling the truth.
I'm just saying though, it's like, bitch, I don't have all day, but I also still I want to come in, get a professional service, high quality products,
network.
And network and whatever. And so like just the women's empowerment is everything. So Miss Tina, much respect to you.
Thanks
your
for the
legacy.
Gift.
Like it's a gift to us all. And I do feel like this is a book that anybody could enjoy for so many different reasons. And so it's nice to see somebody at 70 learning their value, learning that
I would like to see more
their life
men
makes-
read this book. Like, I think a lot of times men think that there's nothing to learn from like an older black woman.
Yeah, Romel.
Well, he just said fiction. This is technically
Well, he's my brother, I'm telling you.
nonfiction.
It doesn't matter, but
I
I'm
think this
just-
isn't something that men would necessarily pick off the shelves for themselves.
Nope.
But I think it's important to hear everybody's stories. Like I said, we don't just read black women's stories here. Like, I think I feel like I love reading. The more diversity, like, the more there is to learn. So I like it.
You're a heretic. That's why. We're taking you away. Put her in jail. Lock her up.
Oh,
Lock
boy.
her up.
Oh,
Did she
boy.
just say diversity? That's outlaw now. We don't get to do that no
Oh,
more.
boy. I'm being a
Woke.
wokester.
Jeez, she's over here
Yeah.
woke and everything. She's trying to basically.
Listen,
she's
I'm
trying
trying
to
not
brainwash
to be
you
woke.
guys.
I'm ready to go bed.
Listen, ain't that it? We're tired. You guys, we can't say enough beautiful things about this book. Miss Tina, you're an icon. This was a really, and honestly, it's not like this is a good book because this is her. Like, this was a beautifully written book. The storytelling's impeccable.
Oh, the artwork.
The artwork was really beautiful. She picked an artist from Lagos who has done art for her before. The cover's beautiful. The pictures in the book are awesome. Like,
We'll put
this
that in
is-
the notes. It's great.
It's amazing. So just, y'all should pick this up. This is a great Mother's Day gift. It's a great conversation
Sorry if
piece.
you came to this episode because you want us to talk. You guys like it when we hate it.
I loved it.
If you like when we hate stuff, go watch
Winter Crest Hollow. Winter Set Hollow.
I almost called it Winterfell, but that's Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, you guys. So let's spin the wheel. Spin it. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, Kat. What do we have here?
Oh, I'm so calm.
friend?
Oh,
So calm.
it's so funny you mentioned heretics because we're going to be watching Sinners.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun,
Finally.
finally. It has happened to me.
Right
Listen,
in front of my face.
I think by the time, so I won't have seen it 3 times by the time we review this,
Let's see,
but
when is
I'm
this coming
definitely
out?
going to see it a 3rd time in IMAX.
Yeah, this one will be what, on the 14th?
Yes.
Okay. No, 7th?
When it releases, I don't know.
Today's this.
Okay.
So this one's coming out
And
here.
then we record that day. So,
So
the
it's the 14th.
Oh, you guys. But I
Mm-hmm.
really hope that you have a beautiful, this is your reminder again.
Mm-hmm.
Mother's Day is this Sunday. If you're
Yes.
listening to this on the Wednesday it drops, Mother's Day is this Sunday. Plan accordingly.
Thank you.
And if you haven't already, don't try to take her out to breakfast now. That means
Too
all the
late.
good spot. Don't do that to these servers, okay? Figure out, talk to your mom. Ask her what she wants to do if you can't just already know. And bare minimum card flowers.
To show up.
But not the
Go
plastic
see
joints
'em.
Moni
Don't
was
do
saying
that shit.
before
Don't
that
do
she's
that,
not
y'all.
into.
Nobody's into
But
that.
please, you guys.
Because moms deserve just so much more.
Just a day.
That's it.
Just a day. And if she wants to be left
Okay.
alone, leave her alone.
That part. So yeah,
Whatever she says, no pushback.
that's right, you guys. So yes, thank you guys so much for joining us again for another episode. We definitely appreciate the listen. If you enjoy this podcast, you guys, please share it with your friends. That's how we get a little notoriety out here. Also, follow us everywhere on social media, the Fab Podcast or the Fake Ass Book Club. And enjoy the stuff that you like, man, because life is short, And be good to your mom.
Yeah. And your body belongs to
loves
you,
you.
but only because your mom had you.
That is so true. You wouldn't even have a body, you ungrateful SOB.
it.
You ungrateful.
Molecule by
son.
molecule, just
Okay, built you up in her uterus. Okay, what did you do? All right, what have you done? I'm just kidding. All right, guys, we're out of here. See you next time. Bye.
Before we go, we must give thanks to Urban Nerd for providing our music, and legal services were handled by Trezene M. Atkins. If you like what you heard, please feel free to join us every Wednesday for another Fake Ass Book Club. Cheers. Thank you guys for listening. You can check us out at thefabpodcast.com. Please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you're listening right now. We want to hear from you. Come put it in our life. Thanks again, and until next time, peace, love, and the Fake Ass Book Club. We out.